Good evening, folks. Hopefully we have Declan Browne with us tonight, and going to chat with him now. We missed him the last day through no fault of anybody's, really, just a lack of a connection there with him up the country. So hopefully he'll be in with us tonight and we'll have a good old chat about stuff. I think he's going to move from wherever he was the last night here, and we'll have a connection with him tonight. Hopefully there'll be a bit of Wi-Fi going. So we'll have a chat with Declan about all things Tipperary and all things GA and all things what's happening right now with the clubs and all that. So I'm just waiting for him there now. Johnny Long Hall is in. Well done. Declan Browne is in. Johnny's just kicking off his day out in America now, hitting a few golf balls there. Waiting for Declan. I don't think we'll have a problem tonight. By Christ, if we do. Oh boy, there he is.
That's Tomás. I'm out of the borough. I'm out of the borough.
Sorry for the hassle, boy. I know you had to go into the office for it now, did you?
Yeah. Apologies for last Friday night notice.
Jesus, not at all, boy. Not at all. There was no panic. I actually stayed on for about half an hour, 40 minutes. I was chatting away, talking shite, as the man says. So how are things with you? I didn't even start last night, Declan. What like the obvious question for everybody is how was lockdown and kids and like work and all that for you? Like, is it something that you're kind of seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, or how was it at all for you?
Well, I was lucky, I suppose, Tomás. I was working away the whole time. So, but for the kids, I suppose after a few weeks, they kind of got used to it. I suppose they were craving their own friends, and unlike us years ago, Tomás, when we were off school, we were delighted now. But the kids nowadays, they love being in school and they love their friends, But that was tough times, There's no doubt about it. But again, it was unprecedented, so I suppose we just had to learn as we went along. But scary times, So, but hopefully, looks like we're coming to the end of it.
Up.
Yeah.
And I'm looking out the window here, like the fucking evenings are getting shorter already. It's depressing, like, but it actually is. Like, even though the longest day of the year hasn't landed yet.
Yeah.
Did you miss sport, Declan, in general? Like, are you a sportsman? Like, do you watch golf? Are you into racing? What other sports would you be into?
I'd watch anything, Tomás, So it's but I'm delighted in the break too, Obviously coaching teams, and I'm chairman of my local ladies football club as well, and coaching underage girls. So I'll be honest with you, I enjoyed the break, and obviously we're looking forward to getting back again. But it's the break was very good. But again, I suppose for the mental side of things, we need to get back doing something, just to get back out in the pitch or back something. So again, like, luckily enough, we seem to turn the corner a small bit,
The fact that you're chairman now of the ladies, does that mean that you're in charge of a lot of stuff that's coming, say, organising all the teams coming back?
That's the thing, That's the book. The book stuff. I was kind of hoping 2021 would be the target, but again, it's unprecedented, Tomás. We can't go back till it's right, and that's the way I'm kind of saying. Like, the 29th of June is probably a date that's been given to everyone, but that doesn't mean you have to go back on the 29th. Like, because if things go wrong here, the buck stops with the chairman. I'm only a small fry, like a ladies club, but imagine the bigger clubs around the country. It's not going to be easy. So it'll be interesting to see how we'll all handle it.
Do you think any players will actually say, do you know what, I'm not going back at all? I have a grandmother at home there, or my dad has an underlying issue and I'm not going to go back at all. Like, and have you heard of any of that stuff, Declan? Or is it a worry?
Not yet, but I think it is a worry, Tomás, because like, I was only talking to a colleague of mine this morning. Like, if you take there's a club match next week or in 5 or 6 weeks' time, and the testing is still there, and some club has 3 or 4 chronic asthmatics or something like that, they're not going to play. Or again, they're saying it's for over 65s or 70s, it's not feasible to go to matches, or it's not safe. But how is it safe for the likes of myself, yourself, to do that and go back to our parents or back to our grandparents? So I just think it's great that it's all moving on, but I think there's a lot more thought to be put into it yet.
Yeah, I mean, like, initially when the GA said Like a month ago, and a month is a long time. Like when you think about it right now, but a month ago, I couldn't see Declan. I couldn't see with everything that was going on around the world, with everything that was happening everywhere else, with everything the experts were saying. I says, Jesus Christ, it's going to be a long winter without football.
Yeah.
But then they said the football is back, right? And I thought I got a fucking surge. Then, like I thought, this is great. Like, but already, right? They have this split, more or less half and half for the club and the inter-county, right?
Yeah.
But I'm hearing already today that counties are going to have their club finals at the end of September, eating into the time that they were supposed to be given in October. So county managers are already calling the shots in terms of what clubs do. It's not going to go down well like with the CPA and with other with club players. Like.
Yeah. Well, you know yourself, Tomás, like, and you know the way the county setup works. Like, it does dictate, and obviously, and more so now because of the time and the effort and the commitment that goes into it. But like, if they're going to, I think now is an ideal opportunity for the GA to actually sort this club mess out, and see. And maybe it is knockout. I don't know what way they go, but like, if county managers start taking club players, it's going to cause war, and it should cause war, because now is it's the ideal time to say, you know, let's get some bit of structure in the club scene, because again, I always see when I retired from county, and you're probably saying the way the club scene is shambolic. You know, it's shite. You know, and that's the bottom line. Like, so
you don't realise until you're actually gone how badly Declan they're being treated. Like, really, as such. Like, you can't plan anything. You don't. No. It's a farce, really, isn't it? Even for the club managers, like, to even time your run for it. Like, you were managing Are you still involved with the 21s and Tip?
No. I had 1 year there in 16.
16, right?
Yeah, it was the old format, it was the winter football, and then it kind of came back into the summertime under 20 then the following year. And I mean, sound petty, but like the summertime just didn't suit me with kids and like you said, they're planning stuff. It just I wasn't willing to give time to that and then have to say cancel a family holiday or something like that. Then the shit starts. So it's not you know, it wasn't ideal, so I kind of stepped away from it. So. But I was managing Great Ballycallan hurling there for 5 years, and I'm with Kilrossity in Waterford this year. So, you know, it's challenging times. Like,
geez, I didn't realise at all like that. I come to the hurling in a second now, but let's just stick with the like, you were there. What year did you first play with Tip in the senior level?
96. I was minor the same year. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So you managed under 21s there in the last few years, and even at under 21 level, there's probably a good step up to senior level in terms of professionalism and everything in the background.
Yeah.
But like, guaranteed, your setup at Tipperary 96 doesn't compare to what you had probably at under 21 level in terms of the backroom squad or stats. Or do you think, Declan, that it's kind of, and it's very hard to say, oh, you should row it back. There's no rowing back, really.
I can't now.
It's very hard. Where is the line? Like, they've passed it long ago. Like.
Without a doubt, you know, and the players nowadays, Tomás, they crave this. This is what they want. Whereas, like, if this COVID thing happened in my time, 3 months off training, I'd be thrilled. I'd be delighted. You know, so and that's the way it is. But now you can be guaranteed that all county players looked after themselves over the 3 months. You know, it's completely different. And if a county player craves this, Tomás, like, you have to provide it, and that's where the cost comes in. And you know, I'd hate to be, like, as I said, I got a taste with the 21s, and the managing side of it, trying to tell people that you're not on the squad or you're not in the panel today or this and that. It's horrible, absolutely horrendous. And I wasn't ready for that, to be honest with you. So that kind of turned me off a bit of the inter-county scene. Like, obviously, if you're an outsider going to a different county, you could call the shots and throw the shots then. But when you're inside and you know and you're close to everyone, I just found that very hard, you know. So, but as regards to like the professionalism now, I'm glad I'm gone. I'm glad I'm long gone, because it's just it's you've no life, Tomás. But then again, you sign up to it, and that's the thing. You have a choice to do it or not to do it. But it's tough going now compared to our time. You know, you
enjoyed your inter-county career. Like, you had an unbelievable career, like, and the accolades you got outside of it, and playing with Munster and playing with Ireland and all that. But how long did you have at an inter-county level? Did you feel pressure on you, the fact that you were the main man with Tipperary every time? Like, every time you went out, every team had a plan for you. Did you find that hard, like, or did you get frustrated?
I was frustrated, all right, more times. After drawing Kerry more times. But
jeez, we drew you that, didn't
we? we did. But I'll be honest with you, Tomás, like, I never felt pressure. Like, I always I backed myself, I trusted myself, and I was never cocky, but if I went out and scored 1-5 in a game, great. If I scored nothing and held, it didn't bother me. I just, you went out again the next day. But like when I started off, like before you even came along, Darragh would know, like the likes of Peter Lambert, Brian Burke, Jerry Foley, John Owens. I played with some smashing players, but we just got knocked out in the first round, and that was the hard part of it every time, knockout. And I heard you talking to Kieran Sheehan the other night about knockout. It's it's brilliant, but like when you get knocked out in the first round, every time you draw, like we were waiting for the draw in September, October to the old format. You played three National League games before Christmas, but the draw was always made before Christmas. You're there waiting, hoping that Jesus not carrying again, or something. Just get some sort of a run, like, because I said it to I played for 12 seasons. I played 25 championship matches, so it's it's a poor return for that. But saying
the one you got there, you didn't see Rattle Cork in a Munster final. What year was that?
In 02. We were well good enough. We were the better team on the first day, no doubt. But you know yourself, Cork were probably in a bit of turmoil with Larry at the time. I didn't know what was going on behind the scenes, but just things weren't right, and we kind of caught him the first day. But by God, they gave us some hammer in the replay below in the park the following week. So, but yeah, that's I always said when I stopped playing, Tomás, that I very little regrets. But when you look back on it, that was massive. Munster medal would have been huge for us at the time.
Do you think any format? Do you think, like, because they brought in the back door, right, Declan? And they brought in the back door, and in my eyes, Jesus Christ, if we lost Iceland, that's going to make us stronger again, like.
Yeah.
Do you think there's any format that could work? And I'm not saying, like, I'm not throwing down on weak crowd, but do you think there's any format that could be put in place that would be happy for? Are you happy with the current format, for example?
No, I'm not. Like, again, like I would be years. You've asked me 3 or 4 years ago before Tip got on the run and got to the All-Ireland semi-final, like I would have said 2 tiers, I would be anti it, because Tip would have been in the second tier. But now it's like, it's hard to know. Like we want games, and that's the way I'd look at it. So I would love to see maybe a Champions League format of 8 groups of 4, 4 groups of 8, or whatever it is, and player games. And if you get the shite bait out of you in 3 or 4 of those games, so be it. But you might have a chance in 2 or 3 of them. Obviously, you'd be seeded. Or the other side is, I would love to see knockout, 32 open draw, and a losers group come in that way, and then have your secondary competitions. Like, so if we had an open draw and Tip drew Donegal in Donegal, so be it. Or if we drew Waterford, you might get a couple of games there as well. So it's not going to be easy, but I think the amount of time players are putting in, the amount of games they're getting is, it's sad.
Yeah, and the provincials, like I have a bee in my bonnet about them. Like, no matter what way you look at it, Munster and Leinster is totally lopsided. Like, and it's not like the middle of summer, Declan. You're looking at the pitches, the best of weather, like, and you're playing not meaningless games. They're not. I wouldn't like. They're not, and they're never meaningless. Like, because you're training for something all the time. But Jesus, in the height of the summer, like, you want to be training. Can I flip totally to the. Because I was talking to a fella today, and he says he brought the club down to Paddy's tournament, didn't you?
Yeah, I was hoping you wouldn't bring that up.
But you brought the club down, and the rumour is it, because you don't drink a pint, right?
No.
The rumour is it that you drove the bus back home, did you?
Oh, jeez, not home. No. Jeez, some crack, Tomás. I think we played Bishopstown or Ballincollig in one of the games. There's a right dust up in it now. It was. But you know yourself now, the crack gets on.
Those Bishopstown fellas are awful stuff.
I know, but in Paddy's, it's all forgotten about. But the Friday night, we were down the bus, and the Friday night, the bus driver he said, I don't care how you get home tomorrow night, I ain't driving the bus. So that was grand. But anyway, the games were on, and the session started at 3 o'clock in the morning. We still in Paddy's, and next minute, how are we going to get back to? We were staying on the outside of Dingle.
Yeah.
So I said, 32 seats.
5-6 miles. Like.
32 seater minibus there, and I said, Lord Jesus. So grand, I said, I'll drive it. So I went out, and do you think I could start it, Tomás? Not fucking no. But there was a special button at the side of it you had to press. But lucky enough that the bus driver came conscious, and I was able to press the button and start it off, and on into Dingle, and getting into Dingle, and next we were staying the B&B, and I said the entrance of the gate was only, oh Jesus, the width of the bus. I said, how am I going to drive this in? So anyway, we got him home safe, but it's just some crack.
You probably had plenty of helpers in the back of the bus that would have driven as well for you.
Oh, jeez, they would. That was the problem. So But like you said, it was great weekend. Absolutely brilliant.
Do you think like that's the club scene? Like even at the club level now, Declan, I see it kind of going a little bit serious at times as well. But then, like, and I was with Nemo for a couple of years, and obviously the Gaeltacht. But you love playing it because it's not at the serious level.
Yeah.
Like they take it serious, and championship is championship, and the preparation is a lot better than it was. But there's still that crack and that kind of, you know, the same level of you won't say not enjoyment, but there's great crack with the club, isn't there?
It is, and it's a pity it's so condensed into the wrong time of the year again. I remember growing up, even starting off senior football in the club, like you had 6 or 7 divisional games, then you won your division, you went on to play your county championship all through the summer, you know, and you're playing your county final, then you're looking forward to that. But I gotta be honest with you, Tomás, I retired from my Rovers in 2012. I was only 34. I just lost all love of it, the whole lot. And then 4 years later, I kind of realised, geez, I missed this. I went back playing Junior B, and the crack, just the crack and the social side of it, you know, stepped up to playing intermediate this year, and again, you know, so I just missed the buzz and the crack and the dressing room. But it is great. But like even at club level, it's gone to a degree. But it's all dictated by the county setup, which is unfortunate. If you have 6 or 7 on a county squad, you know, you're peeing against the wind for a lot of the summer. Yeah, in the club, you know.
It's like, Jesus, you could talk about it all night, like. And can I ask you about when you were growing up and when you were young? Were you shooting the lights out? Was it football or hurling, Declan, from the word go? Did you have a draw? I'm going to come to the hurling now in a second, and you were brilliant at the hurling. But was it always football for you?
Oh, it was, Tomás, because, you know, a lot of, like, where I was born and where I was, you know, reared and grew up was a little village called Clarahan. It was up to 2005. It was probably the only parish in Munster that had no J club. They had in the 60s and the 50s. My grandfather and I would have played, but we had no J club. So we all played with Mile Rovers. It was 4 miles over the road. We got picked up, collected. Obviously, Mile Rovers were doing their homework, and they had lads to collect us and bring us to train and all that. So I started. They knew, well, I wouldn't know at that stage, you know. But, you know, so I started at that. But, like, again, I was only chatting to a guy this morning, like my age group in the club, I would have very few friends still playing that would have progressed even to senior. We were always playing C competitions, and we were mullickers, you know. So it was only 2 or 3 of us that went on to play any bit of adult football for the club, you know. So it was always C, barely B, never A, until we kind of made a breakthrough in senior in 95, and then it kicked on from there, you know. So, but growing up, it was always football or hurling, Tomás, or even soccer inside in town. It wasn't basically whatever it was, because the commitment to anything back then was, you know, you train twice a week and you had a game at the weekend. It wasn't that spectacular, so you'd be able to manage everything. But obviously, my Rovers was a predominantly football club, so it was always football, yeah.
And yourself, like, in terms, like, we all know the skill set that you had. Every time we played Tipperary, most of our team talks were about you before it, right? So how did you kind of, like, is it the old cliche of outside in the back garden? What drove you as a young fella, and how long did you spend at it, and what did you do, Declan?
Well, I just did, like any young fella, Tomás, just enjoyed it, you know, the crack. And obviously we didn't, and looking back on it, I didn't grow up in a winning mentality or winning formula. So you kind of gain or grow the hunger as you go along, and the desire then comes at minor or under 21 level, when you see probably a lot of teams, even in Kerry and Cork, that they have so much success at underage that they're gone at minor. So I was kind of the opposite of that, you know, that kind of drove me on. And obviously, you know, you realise when you're making county squads, you know, that desire to get the best out of yourself. You know, I was a lazy whore running around the field. I have no problem saying that. Laps didn't bother me, didn't interest me.
Didn't suit you.
Didn't suit me, yeah. So, you know, I was always, you know, you shoot points, or, you know, the more shots at goal you get to train, and even as from an underage or young age, underage, kicking my left leg, you know, and that was, you know, I always practiced that every night, and obviously you get better and better in that, and that obviously then as you get to senior, you know yourself marking forwards, if you can turn left or right, it's that bit harder to mark it, you know. So they're little things, like, they sound a bit petty or childish, but that's the way I was. I had no medals, no winning trophies, nothing at all. It was just a matter of getting the best out of myself that I could, you know.
Do you think young fellas don't spend enough of time on their own with a ball and just kicking and belting and just like that's where it's the stuff you did outside of the pitch, Declan, that kind of, I won't say set you apart, but that helped you with that extra kick, like.
Yeah, like obviously people are they're running the roads and they're running the woods and they're doing gym work and all that. That wasn't me, you know. So you know yourself, it's with the football or the hurley, that's where you'll develop and that's where you'll gain most out of it. We can all, you know, I prefer to have the little tubby belly than the look good in the jersey and be able to kick 1-5 rather than running around the place like a blue arse fly, not doing that. You know, and you know yourself, that's what's happening in a lot of, you know, your GPS. Like if I did a tracker on the back of mine, you know, there'd be no need to put batteries in it because it wouldn't move. It wouldn't move too far. But you know yourself, team meetings now are all stats and they're all, he covered this ground, he covered that ground, and you know that, I think it's a lot of bulk to me but that's what it is now, and that's the way you gain success. And if you get the most out of yourself, and if you're in the peak of your condition, and you know it all adds in. But to me, skill, you know, and I always quote Colin Corkery below, like, Jesus Christ, what a man, you know, what a man. He'd be my style of player, you know. So, you know,
I remember him telling me when Tompkins came in, right? Corkery, like, is brilliant company, like he's absolutely hilarious, right? So he said that he thought, like, he had the run of Cork, like, he was the best kicker. He was unbelievably hard to stop, like, and he was huge, like, but he was still the best footballer they had, like, and he was such a threat, like, and you thought he couldn't move, but he actually could move so fucking well, like. But when Tompkins came in, he always used to say, Tompkins brought him in for a meeting, and he brought Stephen O'Brien in for a meeting around the same time, and Tompkins was a guy who was going to run the living shite out of him, like, he was going to frickin'. And Corkery came out, and O'Brien was waiting outside, and Corkery just turned to O'Brien, he says, I don't think this guy's for us.
You know?
He said, like, this guy,
I'm not doing this,
this is not for us, like, no way. Come here, the hurling, was there ever was it ever put to you, or was it ever in your own head? I might be better off going after hurling here.
I know it wasn't, because again, like I said, times were different back then. Like it was a lot easier to play both. Yeah. You know, you weren't. I said the 5 nights a week training for one wasn't there. So, like, I always played. I made Tony Forrest under 14, Nina Cop under 16 panels, won an All-Ireland minor in '96, in intermediate in 2000. You know, so it was always there for, like, it was GA for me, and that was it. And I loved it. I have to say, I loved it. It was always a struggle, because coming from a junior club was never going to be easy, you know. So, but I loved it. You know, it was always a challenge. And then when you do make the breakthrough, I remember '96 and the minor setup. I was flying early on, and I got a bad hand injury. So I kind of lost out there, even in the subs, if you know what I mean, coming on. And, and then in the draw and final, we drew with Galway. I came on, I did okay, and I was flying then after that, and I started the All-Ireland final, the replay against Galway, and played the whole match. And to me, that made up for everything. You know, that I had worked so hard to get to that level, and that I was worthy to be picked and to be trusted. You know, like, I wasn't the best hurler, there's no doubt about it, but I always felt that even later on at intermediate level, that if there was a chance there, I'd take it, and I'd score. I said back myself to that. So, but no, I love, like, it was always going to be football, Tomás. There's no point saying any different. But when the hurling chance comes along, especially in Tip, you'd be a fool not to take it and try it out, you know.
There was, like, it's probably different now, Declan, in terms of in fairness, teams you see it in Kerry that the hurlers get a fair crack at it, right? But when you come in at the start, was there ever a feeling like that, geez, the footballers don't get a fair crack at this, like, everything, resources are going towards the hurlers, and, you know, it's a hurling county, blah, 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 and, like, did you get that feeling there, or was it there, or did you just put up with what was there, like? It
was there, you know, and there's times you give out, and you know that the people will be saying, those whingy bastards, you know, they're always on moaning or groaning about something. But we were a poor relation, but it never bothered us, Tomás. But, like, the only thing is I'd always say it, if we had a run in the late 90s of the qualifier system, it would be a different story, because we'd be serious contenders, and you'd be backing up, or you'd be making a name for yourself, and you'd be building up a bit of pedigree for yourself as well. But we never got that chance, because you boys below, you know.
Do you remember the famous that night, or that day below in Tralee, like, Jerry Murphy?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, like, I don't know, do people remember that? Like, the stanchion in Tralee Like the goal, I'll always remember the goal
Yeah.
inside in Tralee, a funny old goal. Like, so you have your stick, your post going up in the crossbar,
And a hoop, yeah, and a
there's
hoop, yeah.
hoop, right?
Yeah.
A rectangular hoop at the back, at the top of the crossbar. And geez, there was only minutes left, Declan. That was all, wasn't it?
Well, no, it was minutes just before half time, Tomas.
Was it just before half time? Sorry. But what did we win, or what did we win by in the end?
Six in the end.
Yeah.
But
and
like
we kicked on at the very end, like.
Yeah, but like that was probably the final nail in the coffin, because we kind of realised in our county board didn't give two shades about us. You know, because I was captain the same year. I was having a nightmare stinker the same day on Mike McCarthy. You know, Mike. A bit of a rash.
Jesus Christ, he'd stick you like a limpet.
Oh Lord, jeez. I never touch you.
Underestimated, like how good he was, like.
Yeah, stop. He was class. But I remember we were chatting. I saw it from below, the far end of the field, and we were saying, Jesus Christ, like the umpire even nearly had to duck to go out of the way, you know.
And then, I shouldn't be laughing, like. But for the people who don't know now, they're listening. The ball ricocheted on the outside of the post, went wide, like. And hit the corner of the stanchion and came straight back out.
Back to Jerry.
And even the angle that it came back out, there's no way it could have been a goal.
Yeah.
And your man put up the green flag and it stood like.
Yeah, like he fell back into Jerry's lap. Like you couldn't have sent away for a better pass back into it.
Jerry didn't really admit it. He didn't. No. I'd say he actually did a celebration.
Oh, no,
did he?
Yeah, no, he didn't. No. What I can't understand is, you know, Philly in the goal. How the umpire walked out of the pitch that day, I'll never know, because Philly would clobber you at the best of times. But we went in at half time, Tomas. We weren't coming back out. That was genuine now. And we thought, you know, and Kerry were back out. I'd say there was 10 minutes. There was a few slaps on the door to come back out. But we said no. And, you know, obviously the county board kind of got the better of us. And we said, geez, we'll give this a right rattle and we'll try and turn this around. But so we're never going to recover from that. But that in hindsight,
you think you should have stayed inside?
It was live on television. It was live on television. It was, you know, it would have messed everything up.
Jesus Christ.
You know, so, and the other side of it is, you know, like, I've often said to a few of the Kerry lads, like, if the shoe was on the other foot, you know, what would have happened? And that's no disrespect to Kerry, but, you know, it wouldn't have, and it's like Louth and Meath that day in Croke Park, you know, those people, you might laugh and we'll joke about it, but, like, for us, that was our year gone. It was a year gone. And
because it was a pure knockout that time, wasn't it?
Again, you know, so it was it was disappointing, but like when you don't have the backing of your main guys, it really shows you then what you're doing for. But then again, you know, we did it because we loved it too, you know.
I know, yeah. And was Cummins there that time? He was as well, wasn't he?
He was in 99. I don't think in 99. No, he wasn't in 99. He was there.
He would have made it, Declan, wouldn't he?
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah. You know, but look at when you have 5 All-Stars and a couple of All-Irelands in your back pocket and the hurling as well. You know, but again, it was, you know, it was probably total opposite to me. It was always going to be hurling for Brendan and Rhodes versus for me, you know. But again, it's like that, Tomas. We need all those players, and we needed them, and we still do need them. You can fast forward that to Peter Atchison, Colin O'Riordan, all these guys.
Yeah,
we need everyone.
I was going to ask about them. Atchison was as good as I saw. In Sigerson below, phenomenal. Like, he was the kind of fella that wouldn't beat him. Like, there was no end to him. Like,
no, he's mad crack, mad for the crack, the whole lot.
Yeah,
and a bowl bastard too when it comes to it. But by
Morgan had great time.
Was he able to back it up, Tomas? There was no one messed with him because he dropped you.
Like, I was complaining there, and I had Kieran Sheehan, and I was kind of saying, like, you know, Jesus, like, we're like success or whatever, like, but you still want to beat Dublin and you want to get on top, so therefore everybody's important. And like Mark O'Connor, whoever leaves or whatever, and you say, Jesus Christ, he's a guy we could have done with now. Like, Colin O'Riordan and Atchison, like, O'Riordan would have been some talent as well for you. Like,
he was the man. He was the man, you know. And I say,
and a good fella, a good sound, solid young fella. Like.
Yeah, everyone shed a tear when he. And again, you can't blame him. Like, he's making a name for himself, and I would hats off to anyone like that. But when you're just making a breakthrough and he's your marquee player, it was a tough one. But like you're losing those kind of the players, and we can't replace them and never will replace them. So, and you're saying you're hoping they come back and all that, but you know it's not going to happen.
Yeah, and it's look, it's just the way it's going. Like, and I don't know. Hopefully, the all positive out of the COVID-19 it'll slow that stuff down for a while anyway. You know, What was I going to say? The All-Stars, Declan, was that a huge honour for you, a huge honour for the family, for the club, even for the county? Like, you got the first All-Star Tipperary ever got in football. And to do it, as you said, with Kerry being what they were doing and in knockout football, it was some achievement. Like,
but I suppose in '98, Tomás, knockout probably suited me in that respect, because we got to the Munster final in '98. I ended up top scorer in the whole championship that year as well. So that kind of, that added to the little list if I was going to get one. But it never played in my mind. I wouldn't hand them back for anything, Tomás, but they were never to be all and end all for me. But as you go on in your career and you realise you're not going to win too many medals, selfishly it's nice to get it. '98 was special because I was only 20. I suppose I didn't realise how much of a hullabaloo it caused in the county. It was great.
Yeah.
And obviously, 3 then. It's funny enough, I thought I had a better year, 2. 3 I got one as wing forward. Imagine you marking me a wing forward now. Imagine that. I'd be tearing up. You wouldn't give in to me.
Cute. If I saw it, I could see it happening, and I'd say, yes, I'm on the other wing there.
You wouldn't keep into my pace and my up and down the field. But I won it at wing forward, and I'm on record saying like it was an insult to the other wing forwards, because I'm a fella that if I'm up against Morris Fitz or Gooch in the corner, and if I'm not good enough to win it in the corner, so be it. That's the nature of the job. But for me, winning it at 12. It's great. Don't get me wrong. Right, like. It wasn't right. It wasn't. And everyone knows me. Like I'm the laziest fella to go on when it comes to the laps and the tracking back and all that. So, like wing forward.
But there was no doubt at the same time, Declan, the argument would be that you were in the top 6 forwards in the country as well. Like, so
you could, but in that the joys of competition, like that'd be like you getting as a centre fielder, wing forward. Just to fill a gap. So it's not. Yeah. I know that's
like Brian Howard got one. He got it at centre back or whatever. Yeah. Like, and there is something like that.
Was it Colin Kavanagh was full back or something, nominated full back some one year as well? Like it's things like that are just. I think I won't say they dissed the whole selection thing, but I think it's just it should go back. I remember my first year was '96, and the players picked it. You filled out. You got a form from Power Screen. They were the sponsor, and you got the form in the post. You sent out your 15, you sent it back in, and that's the way.
Do you reckon that was a better system of doing it?
I think so. I think you're being picked by your peers then as well, Tomás. You know yourself in journalism, and you have your you have your favourites, and you come across well with some boys, and you get the vote. So
you have that one, and we'll give you this one over. Like
so like, and I said to you, I thought I had a better year now too. But saying that, like I said, I won't hand them back anytime soon.
The managers you went through, Declan, at all levels, and I'll include hurling in this because you played Fitzgibbon and you won 2 Fitzgibbons, and you were the star of a full forward line that had Satanta, Henry, and yourself. But you were the fucking man that did the damage, like that's what I heard.
Well, I took the belts and I passed it out to Henry for the sack score.
You did the whole hard work.
Threw it out, did the hard work. Like they were special times. You know yourself, college times are brilliant. But we were fortunate to have. I played with some of the greatest hurlers in the country at the time. Like Henry obviously was the star. But I've even said it again on record. Like it's, I think there was a team picked there for all the Fitzgibbon winning teams in the college. I think there was 9 of them, and they picked the best 15 out of it. And they left out one man for me. I don't know. I think he's the best college player I've ever heard, which was Michael Kavanagh from Kilkenny. So you're talking about selection committees and all that. You get it wrong, and that's that you're not going to please everyone. But I definitely threw that. Like we were beaten by UCC in the first final in '98, so we played 3 in a row. But it was a special team. And you know yourself, the crack, even though I never drank, but the crack in college is just,
it's a special competition, isn't it? And I'm fellas listening to me here hopping on every night about it, like, but it's dying a slow death, Declan, isn't it?
Yeah. The same interest in there. You remember like the crowds that would go to the matches back then. You take the day off work or the half day off work, you go to, because obviously the Henry Sheftons and the Eamon Corcorans of this world were all playing, the Satantas, as you said, they were all playing and they all want to see the best. But it was, it was tough going to us. Like you got under there, and if you weren't able to take it, just tough shit. Like but like 2 Fitzgibbons were brilliant, and we were as good as I remember the time. Sorry, yeah.
If you made it at Fitzgibbon, you could make it. You'd make it at intercounty level because the best hurlers in the country are playing.
Yeah, and you're playing in the muck and shite as well. So it's even harder again. But I remember the time. I think it was bandied about in Waterford that we'd entered into the Waterford championship, the hurling championship.
Yeah.
That was fairly knocked on the head. That never got to go ahead. So.
And come here to me. When you got picked in, how many tours of Oz did you do, or how many at home?
Oh, yes, my first one, Tomás, I made it in 2003. Landed in Australia on Sunday evening and got flattened on a Tuesday evening in a challenge match. Yeah.
Oh, stop.
Oh, jeez.
Taken out of it, like.
Oh, gone. Yeah, gone.
They didn't send you home, like, did they?
I couldn't fly. I had a foot of bleeding from my top of my thigh down to my knee. I think it was a corker or a corky or something they call it. And the Aussie goalie kicked out the ball over to the left hand side. I'll never forget left hand side. I was watching the flight of the ball, lovely. Next minute, bang! I was
out of the blue.
Oh, elbow in the jaw and a dead leg. So I'll never forget it. Dr. Khan was there. I said, Dr. Khan, Eamon and Omar Herty were there, and they came running onto the field, and I was there holding my jaw. I thought my jaw was at the other side. I thought me broken in two, but I said I can't feel my jaw. So right, come on, get up. We get up, and I said I couldn't get up. So the dead leg was just so severe, but it was a foot of bleeding. Tomorrow.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So in fairness to Dr. Khan, I think there was a few injections there in the bag somewhere. I got them anyway, and I spent a week in bed. That's why Parry Joyce.
And I'd say Joyce was in the room with you.
That's
then,
insane.
I suppose.
Yeah. Not nice.
Sure, he was coming in at all hours anyway.
Didn't give a shite. Yeah, not to shite. No. Let me start. But no, they all looked after me. But that was and I was actually flying that time, Tomás. I was really looking forward to it, and there was
some good teams there that time. Definitely the best of footballers. Was mine on that trip?
No, like you'd Sean Hogue, you'd Joyce, you'd McGeaney, you'd all these lads, and for me to be part of that was huge. And back then, like it was, you had to take a half day Friday, you train for half Friday, you train Saturday, and it was the old system, the old road, no motorway. You're going up through all the shitty towns, to get to Dublin, get to Ballymun for training. So there was a lot of effort put into it, and if I could have flown home straight away, I would, but I Eamon in fairness to him and Con got me into an oxygen chamber try and get back for the following week. But like I was out for 6 months when I came home. It was that severe.
You were out for 6 months after?
Yeah.
Christ,
it was just
that was severe.
And it was mad the way it worked out. We flew home 2 days, I think 3 days later. I was right sick of it at that time, and I flew home with Cormac McAnallen, and like 6 months later he was gone. So it was a point.
Stuff into perspective, like
that. Yeah. But like I was really looking forward. And then the following year, in 2004, I was crippled with injuries. And to be fair to Pete McGrath, he was manager, and he gave me a turn. Now, in fairness to me, he didn't have to. I wasn't right at all, and I got 20 minutes against the Aussies in Dublin. Remember, I think the big dust up, big row as well with Geraghty as well and all that. So it was one of those.
What did you make of that aspect of it, like? Because when you look at it, Declan, right, and they'll talk, like you can say it's not her sport, or you can say it's not their sport either, like, or whatever. But a lot of people went to see the dust up, like.
Yeah.
That was it, like.
Yeah.
In fairness, like Geraghty and all that, like, and I was out in Oz in 2005, and Chris Johnson went absolutely berserk out there. Yeah. And you're looking at this and you're saying, and they're big men, Declan. Yeah. That was the thing, like. They were bigger than us, like.
Yeah.
You wouldn't back away from them, but at the same time.
I would.
Foolish.
I wouldn't bait myself. I wouldn't bait my way out of a paper bag, Tomás. The side, and you said this. I remember tackling one of them. 2 tackles they were legal tackles, and they were late after the ball, but like hitting this brick wall, trying to tackle him, So I said, I was kind of glad, and I always remember the Gooch saying, it wasn't for him. Like if you're not good in the knuckles and you can't mind yourself, you've no business.
I'll tell you a good one about the Gooch. We were on the bench, and we were kind of going in and out, and this in 2005 outside in Perth, I think it was, and Chris Johnson went berserk, and he was a hardy boy now, to be fair to him. He was cleaving all around him, and he was actually leaving fellas on the ground, and he was inviting fellas to come in, like, and I was sitting on the bench looking at this, and the Gooch was my right hand side, and Dr. Con was on the other side, and he turns around to Dr. Con and he says, in concussed, like, and I'm looking at this, and I'm turning to the Gooch, and I says, hey boy, you do realise that you actually have to get hit to get concussed, don't you?
Afraid of shit, yeah. Oh jeez. But like he was like the Gooch was lighter than me, so you can imagine what they do to him. Like it's.
But the Gooch went out with the reputation that he was the greatest footballer, and they knew, looking, where is this fella? And they saw him and said, "Oh, you're fucking."
And they know that, they know that, yeah. I remember actually we went out after one of the games in Barry Hall. Remember Barry Hall?
Oh, geez,
he came into the pub. Oh Lord, Jesus, the size of him. So, so you're better off.
You can have the ball.
It's nice to get the jersey, yeah.
Come here, the managers you had down the years, Declan, who stands out for you?
I had a lot
and
of
why?
Tomás. I had a lot. Like, if I go through it, I'd say I must have played under 96, James McCarthy, 97, Paddy Morrissey, 98, Colin Browne, 2 years, 99, Colin Browne, 98, 99, 2000 was Colin Flaherty, 2001, 2003 was Tom McGlinchey, Andy Short, all 04, Seamus again in 05, and 06, John Owens in 07. So we had there was no continuity there.
Fluidity,
no.
Do you think that stood against you?
Without a doubt, yeah. Without a doubt. It was just one of those things. Like, obviously, Seamus McCarthy, Seamus.
Yeah.
Super guy. He gave me my chance day one, and he was there. Obviously, we won the Tommy Murphy Cup. Special guy for me in every way, not even just as football, just outside of it, and a great mentor. You could ring him anytime, or you can chat to him, and you'd get the soundest of advice. You'd always have.
Yeah.
You'd probably say with Billy Morgan or something like that. You'd have fellas like that. They're go-to men. But like Colin Browne came in 98 and 99, and he was one serious dude. From Laois. I remember the first night of training. Myself and Niall Kelly. I remember Niall, he played full back for Tipperary playing goal, but
hardy boy, yeah.
Yes, and we were up at the front. How we were up at the front, I don't know. For the start, two apes trying to impress, but off we go for. I think we trained in Ardfinnan. It was 800 meters starting off, and I said, "Oh, geez, did he set the tone?" So he got. And in fairness, we got to Munster final that year, and the following year he was there with Kerry with the goal that wasn't. So we had. And then a lot of people don't know either in 04, Tomás, we gave a walkover to Fermanagh in the qualifiers. Like, that's it's a disaster.
That's not right,
It's not. And again, it goes back to your county board, and not to be dragging them up, but like my Hall Webster, he went on to play hurling after, was playing a club championship match on the Wednesday before we played on the Saturday against Fermanagh, and they thought that was acceptable, and we kind of said no, we weren't doing it, and they probably thought we were going to back out, but we said no, rang him a couple of times to say we're definitely not turning up, and we didn't, and to this day, it's, to give a walkover in championship is, is not right, but we had to make a stand, and did the stand work in the long run? Not a thing, because that's one thing I was a member of the GPA, and I always was, and I supported many times, but, we got no real back in there. Yeah, it's only tips, only qualifier, and that kind of turned me off that a small bit. That maybe it's aimed towards the bigger guys.
If it was a bigger team that, they would have,
and we would have fancied ourselves. Like Fermanagh got to the All-Ireland semi-final.
Fermanagh had a huge year that year,
and we would have fancied ourselves beating them. So in terms of the managers, like obviously Seamus is up there, but we didn't get enough of continuity there to strike up big relationships with managers. The way they do now, that there's no 4 or 5 year term there. There was always just next manager in, and we were going through turmoil. So it was a brave man that was going to take it on.
Yeah. Do you follow it closely now with the Tipperary setup?
Yeah, I do. I love it. I love it. And obviously you have friends involved, and with Paul Fitzgerald and Shane Stapleton were involved with Liam Kearns for the couple of years, and that run we got to in
Kearns was good, wasn't he?
Yeah. Well, he
ability with Limerick as well,
Yeah. And he was. I won't say he was lucky, but he got an All-Ireland minor winning team, a team that probably should have won in 21 All-Ireland. And he got those, and he shaped those into that. And it's funny enough, I was thinking when we could have beaten Mayo that day in the 16 semi-final. If Robbie Kiley hadn't got black carded, I was at the All-Ireland final, and I was coming back, and I said, "Geez, if we got to the All-Ireland final, we wouldn't have been disgraced." So it just shows you how close you can get to that level. And I always remember the Galway match that year was special to be in Croke Park. We don't have a massive following, Tomás, but there was probably 15,000 Tip people there, wherever they came from. They came out, and it was a special day.
Was the minors as well? Because I've seen you saying, I heard you on radio one day, and you were saying that the minors, just to be there with a minor team lifting an All-Ireland above in Croke Park, and meant the world to you,
Yeah, and that was in 2011, and you're hoping, but if you recall, Tomás, before I get back to that, Kerry and Cork said they couldn't beat Tip back in the early noughties or the late noughties, and 10, 11, 12. You know, we had the upper hand, and it was a pleasure going to matches.
Oh, the minor teams, yeah.
The minor teams, you know.
You were walloping them, weren't you?
Yeah, we were walloping, and you're going to games saying, "Geez, we have a right chance," and we were going to games saying we'll win this. You know, so that 11 final, it was, you know, to cap it off with the goal. I don't know, do you remember the goal from Coleman Kennedy? Like
I do, I remember it, yeah.
Cheeky, you know, to do what he did was, you know, and that's to me, reminded, I won't say reminded me of myself, but he wasn't afraid to miss that. He went for it, and to do it like that, and the team, you see what the players in that Dublin setup went on to do after it. But any little thing like that, Tomás, is huge for Tip. But like to be, you know, yourself a minor to play on the All-Ireland final day as 18 and 17-year-olds is daunting enough, and then to produce the goods is even better, you know. But it was a spell. I remember I was in the stand with my father-in-law, and it was special to see grown men cry and people crying. The handful that was there, so it was. But it set us on the road for a good 7 or 8 years after that, you know.
Yeah. Do you enjoy the intercounty, like Kerry, Dublin going at each other? When the top teams now is semi-finals and finals. I'm enjoying, I don't know about you, but I'm enjoying it the last 3 or 4 years. I think the football has changed. It's not as freaking defensive as it was, and it's all going forward. Even if they're are hand passing it, they're still going forward. It's a better game to watch.
It is, yeah. And it had to, Tomás, because it was dying. It was absolutely like, I know you're winning. They're winning All Irelands, but you know you're not winning it the right way. You know, and you go back to the All Ireland goals that we were watching all for the last 3 months, and people say they wouldn't survive this or that, blah blah. But it's brilliant just to see someone hoof the ball from wing back up into the, you know. And I was watching. I was watching the Clare, and was it All Ireland final with Clare in 95, 97, and like Anthony Daly and Liam Doyle and up, who was up in the Wexford line, back getting the ball, and just clearing it, lamping it. And I said, it's up to you now, boys, up in the forward line to keep it up there, you know. Whereas I grew up with that, and I started off my playing days that it's 15v15. Midfielder or the goalie kicks it out. Midfielders battle first. You win it. It's man on man. Forwards, man on man. And there was never anyone. If I was on Mike McCarthy or Tomás Ó'Sé or Mark O'Shea, that, you know, I beat him. I have it. You know, whereas there's no one in front of you or behind you. You know, so. But I do enjoy the battles, and obviously the fitness side of things, Tomás, is, you know, the Dubs are obviously after taking it to a different level altogether.
Yeah, like for a fella like yourself who used to love it, the training, like I'd say you'd enjoy it still.
Oh yeah. I love the programs, Tomás, like, but you know, it's. But like I said, that's the way they're tuned into that. That's the way they are, and gym work and all that is, you know, dietitians. Yeah. You have every corner covered, every aspect covered, and you have the dietitians available every night, and the nutritionists and the stats, and you have all that. So they might as well avail of it, you know.
Before I leave you go, Declan, the last question: who, say you tortured so many fellas down the years, who are the fellas that stood out for you? Your time, like,
you know,
say the cornerbacks that stood out for you from different counties, say from league and championship.
Even though we got hammered by ourselves more, you know, and I always had a grow for Kerry, you know, and I could name all the, like Mark was special, you know. They were mine, you know, you don't have to say much about that guy, you know. He was just incredible. Mike Mack, you know, they were brilliant people. Anthony Lynch, you know, Corks, Sticky as well, Canty, John Keane, you know, Westmead, you know, they were all, so you come across, like, Tomás, you'd be, like, people don't realise, like, I played 12 years in Division 4, you know, so you come across good lads there that would never be heard of, you know, Kieran Hyland from Wicklow, Shane Briggs in Waterford, they wouldn't be household names.
They wouldn't get the recognition they deserve either, like.
But by James, Tomás, when you were going up in the corner in Aughrim, and there's like a Wicklow cornerback or someone at you, you know, they're tough, you know. But like I'd respect all of them, Tomás. But the Kerry, like, obviously Mark and Moynihan and Lynch and all them were special guys, and there was never dirt or filth anyway on, you know, from towards me, which was always, you know, it was always special as well, because you're going out to beat your man, and he was the same. So, but you know, obviously we'd love to win one more matches and got more results out of it, but. Like, they were special days, Tomás. You know yourself. Yeah. It's only now you realize how good they were. You know.
I know. Yeah.
But we played in the good. I won't say the good time, but we played in the times when you could have the crack. Yeah. You know what I mean? And you get away with it.
Like, expected, like.
Yes, and you're not being videoed or Twittered or Facebooked or Instagram like that.
I remember that night in '99. all the Tip lads stayed around after. You stayed around with a good laugh around the place after.
Yeah.
Down in Tralee, like.
So, listen, Tomás, I tell you.
Jeez, I got in trouble the same night myself, I remember.
we used to have a few.
That, the better.
We used to have a few good nights before matches, Tomás. That was the problem, you know. You go away to league matches and, oh, Lord, it was...
Looking for fellas in the morning.
Looking for around minor. If there was minor lads on it up for playing challenge matches the same day, there was a few of them called in a couple of times, but genuinely, not we will laugh, but you know, we played.
Like Father Ted says, no, Ted, we are.
Yeah,
serious.
we are serious. So we played up and down and Newry there one day in Burren, and it was called off from Newry out to Burren. I know you ever out in Burren, it was a club field, but I looked in the bench. There was a few minors there. And you're saying why that? And against Derry in Celtic Park in a league match, and we ended up drawing with them. A few minors sitting on the bench as well.
Tipperary always had this canny, like you'd expect Tipperary to lose. They had no fear going up the mark, like.
Never, no.
It's unreal, like, isn't it?
I'd say half the boys were calm from the night before. We were nice and relaxed. But we never had the fear. And then you go down, you play, no disrespect to the Waterfords and the Leitrim's and Longfords, and you get wallops, you know, and that was always our way. But I know, especially, like I said, now it's kind of, lads are more programmed and they're more, you know, they have to follow protocol and follow dues. You know yourself, there was off the cuff stuff 10, 15 years ago that you'll never replicate, you know. You know, so it was great times.
Oh, stop. Good memories, my good memories. Come here, Declan, I could freaking talk to you all night.
Super.
I'm going to leave you at it, and thanks a million for joining us. It was well worth it. I knew it.
Sure. I go back to my borough.
I said if there was Wi-Fi inside it. But I enjoyed it, boy. All right, it was a great chat. All the best to all the family and all that, boy.
Thanks,
and
Tomás.
I'll talk to you soon.
You too.
All right.
Good. Thanks a mil.
Come on,
Thanks, Tomás. Bye-bye.